Bugging out is the most romanticized part of prepping. We see it in every apocalyptic thriller or novel written. There's a main character with a limited skill set that goes into his shop and pulls a cloth backpack straight off the catalog pages of some hipster magazine, throws a few random tools in, and then heads out into the great unknown to face the zombie hordes and cast of characters from the movie of Mad Max, only to meet up with some like-minded strangers where they reestablish society and overcome all the obstacles that are thrown their way. But the reality is, if you don't have a comprehensive plan for bugging out, chances are you're just delaying the inevitable. This video is for you if bugging out is part of your prepper strategy. Hi, I'm Steve and welcome to Prepare to Live. Today's video, we're going to be laying the foundation for bugging out. I know that it's become a popular topic, especially recently with everything that's happening in the world. And I know that in my lifetime, we've never been closer to a nuclear conflict than we are right now, especially with the players involved in this global conflict and everybody choosing sides and jockeying for position. So having a good bug out strategy is essential right now in 2023. In this video, the first of a series, we're going to be laying the foundation that you build your bug out plan on top of. We're going to answer the 4 essential questions of your bug out strategy. Number 1, what? What is the trigger that will actually cause your bug out plan to be enacted? There are many scenarios in which your bug out plan could be triggered. Some of them are very common: natural disaster, social unrest. Maybe you live on the coast and there's a hurricane coming and there's a mandatory evacuation order issued and you simply bug out. Or maybe you're in the Midwest or the Northeast and there's a massive blizzard coming through and you need to get a little further south, or you need to get away from the snow. And I know these things seem like not big issues. You just get in your car and you drive away. But time after time, we've seen people stuck on the side of the road, in traffic, not able to make progress, and people even losing their lives as they get hung in the ice and the snow, or flash floods come through and they're ill prepared to be able to survive the conditions they face. So being properly prepared, even for a bug out situation that seems very common, is essential to know that you have the gear and that you have a plan and a location in place to flee to. But then there are those other triggers, those things that most preppers think about. That SHTF event where society begins to collapse. Maybe it's a nuclear attack, an invasion. It could be immense social unrest, government tyranny, an EMP, whatever those things are. Then we have that plan in place that we can flee from our location. Knowing the warning signs of those SHTF events are essential because most of the population will be caught off guard. For example, in the event of an EMP attack, when all the lights go out and cell service is not working and your automobile's malfunctioning, those are clear indications that we've had an EMP event. So if you know those warning signs of each of the things that you're preparing for, then you can get a head start. The second question we're answering is, where will I go? The only reason this isn't the first is because often the trigger, the what, will determine the where. Heading out into the wilderness is probably not the greatest strategy unless it's for a very short time. By having a location in mind, you have the psychological advantage of everyone else because it's much more motivational to run towards something than it is to run away from something. To know that there's a destination where safety is, where there's rest, that is a huge advantage over the masses of people when they do realize what's happening. That predetermined place, that's your bug out location. As a matter of fact, we did a video right here about picking your bug out location. So right click on that link, open it in another window, and at the end of this video, jump over and watch that one. I'll also link it below for you. Maybe it's a vacation home, and think through that. If you're getting ready to make a purchase of a second home or a vacation home, maybe your family does love the beach, but I would not want my bug out location to be in a high-rise condo at Panama City Beach. I would want my bug out location to be somewhere secluded. So maybe instead of buying your second home at the coast, you buy it at a secluded lake somewhere, or in a mountain hideaway, or somewhere in the woods where you can get away and still have great family time and rest and relaxation, but it could also serve as a place of security if you ever do need to bug out and leave your primary residence. Maybe your bug out location is your hunting property that you lease. Or possibly it's a place you visited. It's a place that you spent a few days at in a secluded area that has all the resources you would need to survive. And you're thinking back on it now and you just think, yeah, that's the place. The third question we answer is when. We know the trigger. We know the location. When do we leave to go there? Is there a rally point? Are you waiting for your mutual assistance group to come together, for family members to meet? Maybe your spouse is at work and you have to wait for them to get to a rally point. What does that rally point look like? How long will you wait at that rally point for the other people to come? All of those things determine when you leave for your bug out location. Also, you have to keep in mind the time of day. Maybe there's areas that you don't want to pass through in the dark or in the daylight. Maybe on the journey there's areas that are just more dangerous during certain seasons. So knowing the when is just as important as the other two. There's also a huge consideration for those of us that have children. Maybe they're at school when the event happens, and depending on the age of those children, they may process that differently. So we need to have conversations, not alarming conversations, but equipping conversations with our children. Maybe those conversations go something like this. Hey, if school is unexpectedly called off, we haven't talked about snow, we haven't talked about any of those things, but if school is unexpectedly called off, we need you to go get your sister. And instead of waiting in the car line where you normally wait, we want you to move over to the edge of the building so that we can pick you up a little quicker. Having a comms plan in these situations is important also. Maybe you just take a small walkie-talkie or a small ham radio. You set it to the frequency that it needs to be on. You turn it off. You put it in a small Faraday bag and you put it inside your child's backpack. Just let them know, hey, never open this unless it's necessary. Unless school is called off and there's no reason why you think school should be called off, leave it in. But in that scenario, take it out and turn it on. And I'm going to talk to you through that radio so that we can find each other a lot easier. By just having that comms plan and understanding those situations, it's much better when we know those triggers and things begin to move, that we have a plan and things are strategically placed. If you have older children and their school is closer to the elementary school than your work, maybe the teenager's supposed to go by and pick up the brother or the sister. Whatever that plan is, you need to talk through that plan and even rehearse that plan. Let your children go to school and then text your older child and say, okay, today we're working on the scenario that we talked about. So you're going to go by, you're going to pick up little Johnny and little Susie, and you're going to meet us at the rally point. And then you see how that works that afternoon. Bugging out with children looks very differently, but I know most of the Prepared to Live Nation have family members and young family members that need to be considered in these scenarios. So working through that strategy, and we're going to give you even more strategy through this series. As a matter of fact, if you like this content and you're looking for more of this content, or you don't want to miss any part of this series, I want you to click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell and set it to all so that you can get every one of these videos. The fourth question we're answering is, how long will the journey take? How long is it going to take us to get from the rally point to our destination? What is that planned time frame of travel? Do we have a redundancy in our travel modes? Do we have multiple vehicles? Are our vehicles fueled? Is there enough gas available in gas cans with fuel stabilizer in them so that we can just set those into the vehicle and start and have enough gas without having to stop at a service station on the way? All of that is determined by how long that journey is going to take. It also lets us know what kind of gear we need to have in our bug out bags. In a bug out situation, really every day under the situations that we live in right now, you need to learn to be your own first responder. So you need the skills and the gear in order to be your own first responder. My Medic, I'm going to leave a link below to this amazing partner that we have that supplies first aid equipment in very sanitary and easy to understand packaging so that you can get their kits and you can have them in each car, put them in a bug out bag. But make sure you have first aid gear on hand, because if you're not used to traveling, especially under immense pressure, there's going going to be dings and scrapes and even more severe injuries, that you're going to need to be able to be your own first responder. So that's part of a gear. It doesn't matter how long the journey is, you're going to need that first aid equipment and skills on hand in order to be able to be successful in any bug out strategy. The length of time will also let us determine if we need to stage gear and caches along the way. Maybe there is a town that you're going to have to pass through between you and your bug out area. So you're going to stage a cache a mile outside that town. You're going to have some food. You're going to have some water. You're going to have some comfort items. If you're traveling with children, maybe you're going to have some comic books or a coloring book in a 5-gallon bucket with a airtight lid buried somewhere along the way, so that you can stage your family there and allow them to have a little bit of downtime and rest and eat while you go up and discreetly check out the town before you carry your family through it, to make sure that there's no gang activity or social unrest happening in the town. So the length of that journey, and then you strategically place those gear caches along the way so that you can always have fresh supplies to get you where you need to go. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. Hit that like button if you enjoyed it. Also, be looking for the rest of the videos in this series. They're going to be dropping weekly or bi-weekly, so make sure that you're there. And we want you to have a comprehensive bug out plan. Until next time, remember, we're all just growing and learning together, taking life one day at a time.